What's up, guys? Iceman here. So welcome to Diablo 2 Resurrected. These are my first impressions of this game. First time ever playing it, and I'm now level 10 as Ice Fire. So kind of speccing into a Fire Sorceress. Because this beta allows us to play Act 1 and 2 in total. So I figured if I can only go through Act 2 and that's the max, normal, maybe I'll be a Fire Sorc that can have Teleport and Fireball for some nice AoE. And then just keep bumping those up until she gets to level maybe 26, 27, whenever I get bored of playing. So, it's been interesting so far. Of course, there's some nitpicks. You know, the characters, they're not what I was hoping for. And, like, check this out, for example. The way that she's walking, it's just very stiff and upright. It just looks really fucked up. And the character itself, yeah, it's you can zoom in on him. You know, she's not standing as like upright. She looked a bit more perky and shit in the original. And her features, of course, are off, but whatever. I'll save that for another video maybe, or I'll just quit bitching about it. But yeah, the character models are the biggest issue, I think, so far with Resurrected. The character models, most of them just plain suck. And they look nothing like the original models. But let's go beyond that for just a minute. So yeah, it's kind of cool you can zoom in and out. So initially, I was a bit concerned because the graphics have been enhanced and it's at a higher frames per second, I believe. I believe it's at 60 FPS. I don't know, but it used to be a really poor FPS. So, and of course, this is just the new graphics playing over the old game. And I'd show you the old game, but the problem is last few times where I hit G, you hit G on your keyboard, and it reverts it to legacy graphics. So I don't want to do that because it crashed last time. But yeah, you can take notice just from that how nice and smooth this new frame rate is. The running animation actually looks kind of okay. It's still, I mean, it's quite a bit off from the original, I think, but one positive thing I'll point out is when I attained the scroll to enter Tristram to ignite the stones or whatnot, the scene that caused was really impressive. Just the visuals, and I wish I would have recorded it. But I'll show it in a future video. I'll probably run through with the Necromancer to an extent, and I'll show him entering Tristram. It was just epic. Just the lightning coming from the sky, and just all these effects, and it made for a nice big, thick red portal. And I thought that was really impressive. It looked damn good. And I was actually playing with my patron Mud just a few minutes ago, but he got off. And we're kind of talking about what do we think about these new graphics. And he pointed out how the old graphics, they were just so pixelated in that it left a lot of room for interpretation to the imagination. You know what I mean? And it's so now those things are really a lot more clear, the visuals. So there's not as much room for imagination, not nearly as much. And so it might be difficult to captivate the Diablo 2 that we all remember when you enhance the graphics and shit. But nonetheless, the animations are pretty cool. I don't like all the monster models. I think like some of the Yeti things that I was killing earlier, I must not have had it in this video, but they just look more slender. I thought they looked more robust and beefy in the original. And of course you can revert back to the original and see them as they were. And I think they look great that way. And of course some costume things like the chick, they just really covered everyone up more and thickened them out a little bit. You know, more the features, I mean, they don't look like the female characters that they were in the past, you know, in Diablo 2. So that's just another thing that that's really noticeable, and that I think it's kind of a big deal, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. You know, and they could, of course, change it if they wanted to. I mean, you could get someone on the artist team who brings alive, you know, the original characters in their maybe truest form possible, you know, and they won't have to just do all this shit to them, thinking them out, make them more masculine and all that. They don't have to do that shit. And maybe they would. Maybe there's still time for these things to change. I know it's highly unlikely, but I feel like the game would sell better if the characters looked like how they did in the original, only they were more refined. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. But I mean, it's pretty cool. The graphics and these mages look a lot different. See the mages right here? Really orangish, the flames. I don't know how much of that has to do with just my computer graphic settings, but they added a lot. And in a future video, I'll make sure the shit doesn't crash every time I go to legacy settings, and I'll show you how just like there's a lot of things that aren't there in the original. Like I entered the Den of Evil, right? And you're in the den, and there's like parts of it where, like on the legacy settings, let's say, there's just stone ground and a stone wall. But then you turn on the enhanced graphics, what you're seeing here, and there's little camps and shit where the Doublekins made camp. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And, you know, just how they were able to fit a lot in, I think, without changing the gameplay. But of course, some things that they did add, it kind of overlapped your character slightly, but I don't think it was to the effect of where it would negatively affect the gameplay. So from the little I've seen so far, you know, it's pretty damn well done. And let's go take a look at the stash. So I mean, in the portal looks pretty cool. You know, the fire looks pretty good. It's cool how they change directions when they're running, and how they just try to make it as realistic as possible while not taking away from the speed in which you can turn one way to another. But yeah, the town looks pretty cool. Let's see some of the town. So here's Geed.
May I help you?
And I believe, I mean, they sound like they're all the old voice recordings. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
Die. Die. Time to die. Die. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh shit.
Forgive me. Come on. Follow me. This is for you.
Sounds like the original. I don't think the voice fits the new actress that they have here.
This is yours.
You know, it fit the other one, who was more petite and more nimble and quick, and a bit more, you know, there's more femininity about her. You know, I think the voice fits the original.
Bye.
And it doesn't really fit this one, but I'm not going to bitch about the character in this video much more. So here's the Act 1 rogues. And they look okay. Of course, they're just covered up a little bit more. And here's Charcy. Again, the model doesn't fit the voice. They're just something, you know, I don't think any of us are really expecting this to be Charcy, but let's get away from the characters for a fucking minute, I guess. So the graphics, you know, looks pretty cool. There's a lot of little details, I guess, that you can go take a look at. And I think the items on your inventory look pretty good. Surprisingly, Kasia actually looks quite all right.
Yes. Before our exile, Charcy.
So, yeah, I'm going to go through Act 1 and see how it goes. Now, your stash, yeah, fortunately there's a lot of space, which is kind of what we were all expecting. But I'm familiar with Project Diablo 2 and its stash, the modded version of Diablo 2, and it had a very nice stash. So I'm kind of spoiled with that. I know a lot of us are. But this stash seems quite sufficient. I wouldn't mind if it were a little bigger. You know, maybe a couple more squares this way and that way for all the tabs, but maybe just too much to ask. But yeah, so there's 3 shared tabs and 1 personal tab. And the items, I think, look pretty good. You know, just check that out. It's just nice seeing the redo of these items. And like these two look really nice. The bow looks okay, the armors look okay, but yeah, these 2 items I think look great. The scepter looks great. So yeah, a lot of the weapons I think look pretty damn decent. And your inventory. Now, I'm familiar with Project Diablo 2 still, so I'm kind of spoiled with that. So I really wouldn't mind if they gave us a larger inventory. I don't know what you guys have to say about that. Some would say, well, part of the allure and skill is having a small inventory to try to fit all of your charms in. So there is, of course, that dilemma and that challenge maybe. Whereas if you make a large inventory and have a charm-specific region in your inventory that is good for the charms, and then they're not good in the other sections of the inventory, it forces you into a more appeasing method of collecting items and less strategic, because then you always just have a ton of space to put your items in. But I think overall I'd rather have a bigger inventory with a charm specific section. But let me know what you guys think about that. That, of course, isn't original Diablo 2 stuff. That's modded Diablo 2 stuff. They did that in Path of Diablo mod and Project Diablo 2 mod. One thing I really wouldn't mind them implementing is the ability to slam items, corrupt items, like what we get in Project Diablo 2, Path of Diablo mods. I think that was all inspired by Path of Exile, because it just adds a ton of item depth. Like, I've been making a lot of Slamfest videos as of the past week or two, and those are just exciting. It's exciting slamming items, you know, the potential of corrupting it and losing the item. You know, 25% chance of just ruining the item into a rare, or the slim chance of getting a really nice mod, or an even better chance of just getting a decent mod added to it. So I think the ability to slam or corrupt items, I think that would be cool to have in this. But maybe none of this stuff needs to be requested at all, because I think the biggest deal here that we can all hope for maybe is that they will allow modders to mod this shit, just like they did with on Battle.net and the private servers of Battle.net, or however the hell they do that. Because if we can have a project Diablo 2 Resurrected, I think that would be a pretty damn good time. And then there'd still always be this original version we could play, the Resurrected original, and there'd be the modded versions. So let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, maybe this version should stay just how it is. You know, keep the inventory the way it is, and don't let us corrupt items and shit. As long as the modders can have their way, and hopefully the modders will be able to get these characters to look more like how they're supposed to look. You know, that would be a really nice addition, I think. So, but nonetheless, I'm going to do a few Trist runs, and kind of looking forward to seeing what like killing Endario looks like, and just everything else. See, the portal looks really cool here in Tristram. Here's Tristram.
Tristram was no match for Diablo's fury.
So I already went through here, saved Cain. Of course, now maybe I could just solo Trist runs or something like that. I'm not really sure how to tie up with folks. Mud did join my game quite easily, so I don't know how the hell he did that. But I just need to look into maybe multiplayer games in a minute here. But yeah, I'm all out of mana, so I'm going to be screwed right here. Try to kill this guy. So it'll be exciting, you know, maybe find a unique item or two, finding some runes. But yeah, I went the fire route in hopes of eventually finding a Tur and a Ral rune to make the Leaf Runeward staff. So just a really nice fire skill staff and a 2-socketed staff that gives 3 to fire skills and a lot of other nice mods. And of course, it keeps the standard skills that roll on the staff if it does roll any. So I'm going to farm the Act 2 merchants and see if I can find a 2-socketed staff, non-magic, that has a few beneficial skills on it. Maybe Warmth, maybe Firebolt, and hopefully Fireball. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this so far. Have you been playing the beta at all? And has it been a good time? So like the video if you will, subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you want to support me on my channel, there's links in the description for Patreon, and you can even buy me a fucking coffee. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace be with you.